Greetings and welcome to Wisdom Wednesday. I'm Pastor Janice Fareed Hardy of Fresh Fire International Ministries, and I would like to speak with you just for a few minutes on a particular topic. But let me start out this way. Now, although this may sound like an uncomfortable topic to some people, but please just listen anyway, okay? I'm going to start here, but this is not going to be my topic. Okay, so I'm giving you the warning. Okay, I just completed updating my will and last testament, and some other matters related to what I want done with my possessions when I leave this earth and go meet Jesus face to face. Now, that's not my topic, but I'm going to enter my topic through this. Okay, all right. Um, my topic is really let it go so you can live a peaceful life. Okay, let it go so you can live a peaceful life. Now, as many people, some people, I tend to check my will and last testament and other documents every few years just to ensure that everything is up to date, all right? And also to make sure that, some laws or regulations have not changed that I need to make sure, that are being governed in my will, okay? All right, now, I don't look at my will, okay, because I'm thinking I'm afraid I'm gonna die or I'm, planning to die anytime soon, anything like that. Obviously, it's just for the opposite. I check my will to make sure it's in order so that I can live a more joyous and joyful life. And some people that might say, sound a little strange, but I'll explain. I will explain, okay? All right. Um, so many people in the Bible made their wishes about their death known. For example, in Genesis, we have Abraham who did it, Isaac did it, Jacob did it, and even Joseph did it. Okay, they made their wishes, their final wishes known. And how about Jesus? Even Jesus did it, okay? Time and again, Jesus told his 12 disciples and others what was going to happen and how to prepare themselves, even emotionally, for his crucifixion on the cross. And even on the cross, one of his last wishes, okay, one of his last wishes was to ensure that his mother would be taken care of. That's just like a will. That was the will, the thing that we call a will in our day and time. In John 19 and 19 verses 26 and 27, Jesus said, okay, he said, when Jesus saw his mother there from the cross, and the disciple whom he loved standing nearby, Jesus said to his mother, "Dear woman, here is your son," and to the disciple, "Here is your mother." And from that time on, this disciple took her into his home. So Jesus made his last wishes for his mother known. He did not just leave his disciples or his mother, or his family actually, just out there trying to figure out what to do. So I'm saying this to say it is biblical. It is of God to ensure that your family is provided for in your life and in your death, and to make sure someone trustworthy knows your wishes. I have to tell you, in my role as a pastor, too many times my heart has been broken because I have seen families time and time and time again who are totally lost after a loved one's death. Too often I have seen a grieving family searching and agonizing on how they would bury their loved ones. Is there life insurance? Did he or she make any burial plans, etc.? They don't know. And and what would the loved one want to have done? Okay, what would they have wanted to have done? Burial, cremation, funeral, memorial, etc. Okay, so it is biblical to prepare your family for your passing. I recall years ago there was a book titled Teach Your Wife to Be a Widow. In other words, prepare them so when it comes, it's enough for people to deal with grief, not to also run around trying to figure out, all of these mechanics of how to deal with this thing during the grief and the trauma. In a recent Bible study, the group and I looked at how Jacob made his request known to his son Joseph a few times so there would be no confusion. Okay? You can check it out for yourself. In Genesis 47, Genesis 47, verses 27 through 31, and also in Genesis 49, verses 29 through 32. And Jacob was very specific. Jesus was very specific. The world teaches us to be afraid to talk about our own death arrangements. And since a family is often making emotional decisions when a loved one, passes on, that family can get ripped off buying things and services that they don't need, okay? But that is not what God teaches, okay? As I said, it is biblical to prepare. So it is wise for us to prepare and prepare our loved ones ahead of time, okay? But once again, this is just the entryway into my topic. Here's my topic, okay? My topic is letting go so you can live a peaceful life. When I review my will, which as I told you I do every few years, and other documents, it becomes not an experience of death thoughts, but instead an opportunity to let things go and get them off my emotional to-do list. That time and process of going through my, looking over my will, looking over other documents, it leads me to reflect on the legacy that I'm leaving from my children or the next generation and other people. And that's not just materially, it's also my character, my worship, my values. What am I leaving for these people? Where am I at right now? What do I want them to see in my life? Okay? What have I shown them the past couple of years? It gives me that examination and process. It gives me a focused chance to reflect on my loved ones and how they also have changed since I last reviewed my will. Because things can change people, all right? I check my will not because, once again, of a death focus, but because I'm focusing on living my life to the fullest and on being all that I can be with all that God has, created me to be. All right? So it's not a death focus, it is a life and living focus. Once I ensure that those papers are written and up to date, I can exhale and not have to think about that anymore for a long time. It is kind of like checking the battery in your smoke detector every January 1st or whatever date that you can remember. Once you check those batteries, you are good for a long time. Your family, your roommates, whatever, they are good for a long time. You don't have to think about it or get nervous every time you hear about a fire someplace. But in the process of reviewing my will, I also get to check and see how I have matured or not, okay? Since my last review. I get to think about how I have changed since my last review. Now, with COVID-19, many of us have changed the way we look at things, including ourselves, and probably changed some of our values. That pandemic has made the world really stop and reflect for a while, and the whole world, okay? I love the way David said it how many thousands of years ago in Psalms 4:4, in the second part of it. He says, ponder your own hearts on your beds and be silent. Now, those words can mean when you pull yourself away from the busyness of your day, when you find or make time to be alone, as it says, on your bed, that's what on your bed means, you can search your heart. And the next verse says, okay, offer right sacrifices and trust in the Lord. Now, one meaning of search your heart, it means do a self-examination. And one meaning of offer right sacrifices and trust in the Lord, it can be that when you do a true self-examination, okay, and you're looking at where you are at this point in your life, offering sacrifices, to the Lord and trust in the Lord, it means do not sink into regret or depression, no matter what's gone on over the past few years. But instead, as you look over your life and where you've come and what you've gone through, instead of getting depressed or, whatever, give thanks to God for keeping you and for bringing you through. As I look at my will and last testament and other documents, I slip into a praise. I am thanking God for the journey since my last, will review. And I examine my responses, if you want to say, to what I have faced over the period of time since my last review. I'm looking at the way that I responded to things. This happened, how did I respond? That happened, how did I respond? And what I'm talking about here is not going crazy, taking a whole week to go through this. It can be just, a few moments. It can be half an hour just to reflect on it and look at what I've gone through and look at what the Lord has brought me through and look at how I've reacted during that period of time? Have I learned to act more mature in different areas? And if not, then what do I need to learn to act more mature? I don't want to keep repeating the same mistakes over and over and over again, okay? I want to keep moving forward, not being stuck, okay? Not being stuck. And when I review my will, when I do that examination of my will and use it to do an examination of myself, it helps me to move ahead, okay? And let me share, okay, let me give you an example. I'm going to share a personal growth point that I saw when I was examining my will. Okay, I'm going to get a little personal. I looked at how my life and my family's life has changed over the past few years since my last, will review. I realized that some names have changed due to marriages and such. Some addresses have changed, okay? And I even noticed that my children's focus and my loved ones' focus on their lives has often changed as I think about them, even as I'm going through this review. So for me, I had to ask myself, and this is the growth point, I had to ask myself, am I keeping up with their life changes, with their needs, their preferences, or am I still trying to mother them the way I did when I was younger or when they were younger, okay? As an adult, I can't mother them the way I did when they were 15 or 10 or 2. Okay, I once read someplace where a very, very old woman, she left this advice for parents. She said, when your children are young and dependent or underage, the parent calls the shots and governs the relationship. But when they are grown, when your children are grown, okay, parents should step back and let the children lead the relationship. Okay, how do they want the relationship to exist? Do they want a closer relationship? Or do they want a more distant relationship? Do they want our unsolicited advice? Okay, do they want us to keep sharing how it was for us in a similar situation? Do they really need to hear that? Some of them want to hear it, and some of them don't. But let them show us, okay, the way. And so, what this woman was saying, and what I have been trying to do, is when you're dealing with your children or your loved ones, hear what's beneath their words. Hear the message beneath their words. Because those underword, if you want to call them messages, will show us what they want, okay? Show us what they want. And to the degree that we can, let our grown kids, let our loved ones, let our parents have what they want in our relationship. We can adapt, okay? Now, since the last time I had reviewed my will, I tried to live by that wisdom, as I just said, all right? Sometimes we older parents can sometimes see our children or our loved ones about to step into something that we feel that they are going to regret later. Or sometimes we will feel that if they don't step into an opportunity, that it's something that they could regret later. But you know something? We have to let them guide us as to how we relate to them. That is the best way to have peace with your children and with your family, with your loved ones, okay? So I had to examine, am I letting my grown children be grown, okay? Am I letting go enough to let them lead our relationship to the degree that I can? And sometimes I realize that I did really great, okay? I'll pat my own self on the back, okay? And then there were times when I failed miserably. And for those times, I, often would have to apologize. Okay, I overstepped my boundary. I stepped into your world. I stepped into your business when you did not invite me. Okay, I'm sorry. I am human enough. I am mature enough to say, hey, look, you're the younger generation, but I did it wrong. And, forgive me. I'm sorry. All right. And you know something? I am my will examination allows me, with my children and with all of my relationships and with everything in my life, to really see, okay, am I really leading these 2 feet that God has given me? Or am I trying to lead my 2 feet and those 2 feet and those 2 feet and those? Because that's not going to work. I can only lead these 2 feet. I can only breathe for this body. Okay? Now, on the subject of children, it's interesting to me that on the cross, Jesus did not tell John how to care for his mother. Jesus simply stated his will and let it go. He let it go to have John carry it out any way John wanted to carry out. Jesus could have given John a whole list. At 8 a.m., do this for her. At 12, no, no, no. He let it go, okay? Jesus let go, and he focused on the immediate task on that cross, which was to die for our sins, okay? So I'm learning from the older woman's advice, and I'm learning from Jesus' example, even on the cross, to let go of trying to lead many of the relationships I have with grown people. Okay, now in my examination, one more final thing, okay? Even though updating my will, I also ask myself when I do that, okay, what if what I want in every area of my life brings the peace of God to me? Okay, or do my desires bring me unrest, okay, and dis-ease or even disease, okay? Now that includes my home, that includes my physical and mental health. I just had to lose some weight to get more peace in my body, okay? It was hard, but God made a way. I asked myself, as I reviewed my will, if I am getting peace in my finances, and I discovered that there are some things where I'm spending too much in an area that is not benefiting me, okay? And that it definitely has no longevity, so I had to back it up in that area. I asked myself if I was getting peace in friendships, and by the way, I had to let some friendships go. Just let it go, okay? And be very clear about it. And other relationships to draw closer because, they were benefiting and so was I. So the examination allows me to look at the different areas of my life. Okay, I even had to ask myself, am I getting peace in my time with God? And I can tell you, it's led me to change my prayer life and to change, my meditation and my decrees. It really has. It was time for an update because even your time with God, even your worship can get stale if it's the same thing decade after decade. So I had to do some updating, okay, to keep it exciting for God and for me, okay? Updating my will was my way of examining myself. And I had to prayerfully, as I said, let go of some things. Now, my examination, of my will, updating of my will, it's also led me to modify how I am living this gift called life, okay? And so I leave you with these 3 things especially. Number 1, do the practical work of ensuring that your loved ones are not financially overwhelmed at your death. I consider that a sin. I consider that non-love, okay? Because we all know we're going to die, so let's just get this stuff in order and put it away so we don't have to keep thinking about it. But make sure that our family, that our loved ones are not overwhelmed when we die. They will have enough to deal with. And as the Bible shows, make sure someone or someones know your wishes, or at least where to find a written document where you've stated it, okay? Number 2, whether you use a will to examination or any other experience, occasionally examine yourself so you can see how you are doing and meet with God on those things. Again, not to depress yourself, not to put yourself down, that is not of God, but to encourage yourself on your life journey, to up your game, okay, in this Christian walk, okay? And number 3, know that God's hand is on you in every thought, every breath, every step, every smile, every tear, every thought, every action. There is never a time, good or bad, when God leaves you alone. Even if you don't feel his presence, God is still with you always. God is faithful. Remember, Jesus promised us, and we see that in Matthew 28, verse 20, the end of it. It says, and surely, 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 in other words, you better know, have no doubt, I, the Lord, am with you always to the very end of the age. always He's with us. So God bless you. Thank you for visiting us. And if we at Fresh Fire International Ministries can help you in your Christian walk, please contact us. The best way to contact us is through our website, and that's www.ffiministries.com. Okay, www.ffiministries.com. And dear people, live in joy, live in God's peace. And I hope you check out our blogs on Saturdays on our website, www.ffiministries.com, and that you will visit us, okay, for our next video, which will be next Wednesday, next Wisdom Wednesday. Again, God bless you.